Have you ever just wondered, what's my purpose? Why am I here? Am I doing the job I'm supposed to be doing? Am I following my passions? What's my purpose? I did an EMDR intensive today, and that was one of the questions my client had was, I'm struggling with my purpose. I'm struggling to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? And I have noticed that it's been a common thing in therapy with my clients. So today we're going to go down the rabbit hole of what's my purpose and how do I figure that out? Today's podcast, to switch gears, is going to be on purpose. Have you ever kind of just wondered, what's my purpose? Why am I here? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I following my passions? I get that question a lot in therapy. A lot. And I had it actually today in one of my sessions. And so I want to kind of give you a kind of a synopsis of my journey to finding my purpose and the process that I went through and all of the things. So I grew up in Nova Scotia, Canada, small town, graduated with 16 people, River Hibbert District High School, and then immediately went to university about 3 hours from my parents' house. Small. It was a city, but it was a small university, St. Thomas University, and I graduated with my undergrad, science, interdisciplinary studies in science and technology. I wanted to be a teacher, or I thought I did. Then I got my first rejection letter and didn't get into the education program and was devastated. And I remember sitting and talking to my professor and crying and saying, I didn't get in, what am I going to do now? And she pulled out this file of all of the rejection letters she had ever received. And she said, this is my motivation to keep going, to keep trying. And I was like, okay. Fast forward, I graduated from university, St. Thomas University, and ended up moving to Georgia almost immediately after. Got married. But because I was Canadian and moved to the United States, there's a time period where you're not allowed to work. You got to do the paperwork. It's a process, permanent residency, all the things. It was probably 2 years total. And I was terrified to drive anywhere because this place is a lot bigger than where I grew up. And so I felt kind of stuck in the apartment complex that my husband and I lived in the beginning of our marriage. But there was a PetSmart store in front of this next street in front of where we lived. And I would walk up there, and they had a cat room. And I started to volunteer, cleaning the cat cages, playing with the cats, loving on the animals. And then they would have pet adoptions on the weekends. So that is actually where I met my dearest, longest Georgia friend, Beth, who is also a veterinarian. And she, at the time, owned, and she still does, low-cost spay-neuter clinic. And she also ran a animal rescue group, Pound Puppies and Kittens. And so I would volunteer, and she asked me, hey, are you interested in learning to be a vet tech, if you will, or a veterinary assistant? Never went to school for it, did it for many years, loved it. So I would go out to, back then it was on her farm. Now it's actually its own separate building in a different location. But she taught me everything I knew about prepping surgeries, drawing blood, intubation, drugs, the drugs that we would give, all of the things to do with veterinary technician as far as surgery, how to hold, all the things. Anyway, and I was just fascinated by it, and I was like, Yes, I loved it. I was like a sponge. Yeah, 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 yeah. It was a feeling of, man, I can't wait to go back. I can't wait to learn more. And in that process, I realized, because I had adopted a couple kittens and then my first dog, Joey, I realized, man, this is the first time I've ever felt unconditional love. And that was probably why I was drawn to animals, because I'd never felt that before then. So fast forward, 2011, I had a brain tumor, had to have brain surgery, thought I was going to die. I'll get into that probably in another episode. But I was in recovery. And by this time, I had a daughter, and she was in elementary school. I was a stay-at-home mom, recovering. My husband he worked for a fiber optics company, and so he was gone a lot. And I remember it being November, December, and I can tell you this. Any stay-at-home mom in November, December, what are they doing? They're watching the Hallmark Channel. They're watching all the Christmas stuff. I mean, probably not everybody, but that's what I was doing. And in these moments of watching these, and I've watched all of them, I noticed, oh, every one of them had these like little coffee shops with the brick walls, and it was just cozy, and there was community, and it was kind of all of those things, and it just kind of ignited something in me. And I was like, I'm going to open my own restaurant. Why not? Everybody in my world said, absolutely not. Don't do it. You'll fail. You don't know what you're doing. And I did not. They knew, they were right. I did not know what I was doing. I had no experience in business, none. The only experience I had in the food industry was like a couple of months of waitressing when I lived in Canada. So yeah, but it was like that knowing. My intuition was like, no, I got to do this. So talked my husband into it. He was very apprehensive, but I started to look for places to open this coffee shop. Originally, it was supposed to be a coffee shop. Ended up being a full-fledged restaurant. Anyway, walked into this building, this vacant building that was run down in downtown Monroe. And I was like, this is it. It was perfect. There was a brick wall. There was like this old mural. It was just there. I just knew, again, it was just that feeling of, yup, no question. So I rented it, ended up buying it later on, the building. And I started this restaurant from the ground up, from creating the name, the LLC, the inventory, the remodeling. My hands were in every aspect of creating and maintaining. I think by the end, I had 25 employees that I was managing. And I knew when I started that project that at that time it was a temporary. I said to my husband, this is a 5-year plan. I don't want to do this for retirement until I retire. I want to create community in our community, and I want to create a space where people can hang out and have coffee and just relax and enjoy life together. I'm not a cook. I didn't want to cook. None of that. And most people who start restaurants want to cook. That was not my passion. My passion was community. So I did it. I sold it after 5 years. The first year I made a profit, which was almost unheard of in the restaurant industry. But I proved everybody wrong, and I became successful at it. I sold the business, kept the building, rented the building, and then decided, what am I going to do? I don't sit still well. So I went to work for a friend of mine who owned a flower shop, and I learned a little bit about that, and that was fun for me. It was never a career path. And then I became a wedding coordinator, event manager for a wedding venue. And I liked it. It's a lot of work. It's long hours. I didn't like working every weekend, but I enjoyed it. I did it for probably 5 years. Also, at that point, knew this isn't my career. This isn't my purpose. This was a filler. We all have those filler kind of things that we do. And then, all of the things with my daughter, which I went over in the intro. If you haven't watched it, please go watch it. And she moved in with her dad, and I felt this strong pull to sign up for my grad degree. And to put it in perspective, I graduated from St. Thomas University in 2004, prior to laptops and cell phones. I mean, they were there, but it wasn't common. I had to go to computer labs to type papers out. And I signed up and technology, as I've said many times, is not my forte. But I signed up for this online program, so all technology, and had been out of school hadn't written a paper in 19 years and had no idea what even APA style was. If you don't know, look it up. It's a style of writing for professionals. Anyway, the biggest takeaway from that was I stepped out of the fear because I just knew this is something I'm supposed to do. I was drawn to it. It ignited in me, again, that ignition, which is a very important piece of the puzzle. And I did it. I signed up for it. I started classes, and I knew immediately, even in the beginning, intro classes, yes, I was like a sponge. I loved it. I was just like, yes, I was eating it up. And I knew in that moment, this is it. This is it. This is what I want to do. This was my purpose. I'm going to rewind back for a second, because when I was diagnosed with the brain tumor, one of the things that I said, I believe in positive affirmations, but one of the things I said during that time was, I'm not done yet. I haven't reached my purpose. There's still things that I need to do here. I'm not done. This isn't taking me out. Even though the doctors told me I had 18 months to live and to get my affairs in order, I said, nah, I'm not done yet. I just knew. There was more for me to do here. So fast forward back to my grad degree, and I loved it. And the more, when you get into the meat of it, of the disorders and all of those things, like, just loved it. And then at the end of the program, and there's a year of practicum and internship. It's like an unpaid experience thing. And I loved it, and I'm so grateful for that opportunity. And anyway, I got in front of clients. I wasn't nervous. There was no jitters. There was no second guessing. Occasionally, which is normal, I had imposter syndrome, like, but mine was like, why is this so easy? I don't mean easy. I mean, like, natural. Like, why am I not nervous? Like, why I'm like deep diving into people's stuff. Like, most new clinicians will tell you it's scary. But I wasn't. It was just natural for me. And one of the biggest advice that my supervisor said was, just be yourself. Don't overthink it. So that's exactly what I did. I was myself. Because I learned over the years to not mask, I am the same person in session as I am out of session. I don't pretend I'm not. I used to, when I was younger, mask a lot and pretend to be somebody I wasn't. I don't do that anymore. Partly because I found my purpose, and I just realized that authenticity is a big part of being successful and just comfortable. So I did it, and here I am. I followed my purpose. All that to say, some of the key questions I ask my clients is when they bring up, hey, I'm struggling with purpose, is what are you passionate about? I don't know. Or I like guitar, or gardening, or whatever it is. Okay. Follow your passions. To find your purpose, follow your passions. Follow them until you can not follow them anymore, until they're no longer a passion, or until something else ignites you. There are a few people out there, and I know a bunch, that automatically knew Dr. Perry. She knew she wanted to be a veterinarian when she was little, and burying dead squirrels she would find on the side of the road. My friend Christine, she knew that she wanted to work with kids, and she's amazing at it, like truly amazing. My friend Sharon, she knew that she was going to be a lawyer from the time she was little. But not everybody is blessed to know that off the get-go, off the bat. Some of us are on this discovery path, myself included. So what I would say to you is look at purpose and finding it as it doesn't have to be, and that's it, it's done. Explore things, change it up. Do what you love. Do what fills your cup. Do what makes you feel full and happy, content. And see where it takes you. Because you'd be surprised. I wouldn't be the therapist I am today had I not experienced veterinary technician. All of the stuff that I have gone through, the restaurant, building community, helping people. I would not be half of the therapist I am today had I not explored those avenues. It does not have to be a one and done. For some it is great. If you find it and you know it, amazing. That's awesome. But for those struggling, for those of you like me, where it was like, I know I have a purpose, I just don't know what it is. The biggest advice I can give you is follow your passions. Find out what they are. Try different things. It's not a one size fits all. Ask yourself, is this something I want to do? Is this something that I can see myself doing 20 years from now? For me right now, absolutely. I will do this till I retire. And then probably beyond, without a doubt. Look for that ignition. Look for that feeling of, yes. That is your cue. That is what you need to follow. Those are the things. Ask yourself, do I want to do this? Am I happy? I believe work shouldn't feel like work. And for me, it doesn't. Now, I have bad days like everybody else. Again, human. There's days where I'm like, I just don't want to adult today. One of my good friends, Bobby, says, I'm not fit for human consumption, meaning like she's not fit to be around people. And I totally resonate with that sometimes. But 95% of my days, I get up and look forward to going to work. I look forward to talking to my clients. I look forward to all of the aha moments, all the hard moments, all the tears, all the laughters, all of the things. It's not a job for me. This is my purpose. And I always said, if I didn't have to pay my bills, I would do this for free, wholeheartedly, 100%. I would be a therapist for free. I believe in it, and that's how I know that this is it. So, if you're questioning what your passion is, ask yourself, does it make me happy? And do I have that Am I ignited? Am I fulfilled? If not, what is going to fulfill you? What ignites you? Try something new. There's no harm in it. There's no harm in trying something new. There's no harm in saying, not my thing, right? Passion and purpose, those are deep, deep questions, and you really have to do a deep dive to really find them. Ask yourself, why do I like that? Do you like it because you truly like it? Or do you like it because somebody else likes it and you think you might? And that's okay. It just might not be your avenue. So that's kind of my take on purpose, finding your passions, following them to the best of your ability, the most exciting, and ignite. And you just know. There's an all-knowing. I do want to point out the difference between intuition and ego, because I think that's important. Intuition is internal dialogue, and most people have it. There's a small percentage that don't. But your internal dialogue, when you're dealing with your intuition, it comes in the form of statements. Your ego is more in the form of questions. Intuition is all-knowing. I just know. I just knew I was supposed to start that restaurant, open that restaurant. I just knew. I knew that I was supposed to be on this therapy path. Now, 10 years ago, no, I would have never have guessed this is where I would be today. And a side story to that is, I was sitting in my mother's kitchen probably 7 or 8 years ago, and she was going through something at the time, and I was listening and talking and giving advice and just trying to be Switzerland and not kind of get in the middle. And she looked at me and she said, "You should be a therapist. Have you ever thought about being a therapist?" And I laughed. No, that never crossed my mind. She said, "I think you'd be a good therapist." No, I don't think so. She was right. She was right. But I've heard that throughout my life. You're a good listener. You give good advice. You should do this for a living. Listen to that. Listen to other people. That's a good kind of side note of listen to what people are saying. Because even though you in that moment don't think that you're going to be a good whatever, in my case therapist, that seed was planted long ago. They were right. They saw it in me. I just didn't see it in me. Another big thing is drop the expectations. Your life is not supposed to be exactly how you envision it. It's not happily ever after. It's work. It's a lot of headache. It's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of kind of beating yourself up and thinking, what am I doing? But give yourself grace. We're human. We're all questioning the same thing. No perfect people. But truly, if you want to find your passions, look for what ignites you. Follow it. Drop the expectations. You'll know. Your intuition will absolutely tell you. And if you're hearing, but what if, but, that's your ego, not your intuition. So, thank you for being here and listening to the podcast today. Please like, share, subscribe, leave me your feedback. If there's a topic that you want me to discuss, I'm all ears. Please leave it in the comments. I'll gladly talk about anything that y'all want me to talk about. Thank you. On cue, Taz.